Hi everybody, and welcome to April's Crafty Crows. I know I was supposed to be Adam Horowitz, but I've decided to be me today. So it's lovely to be back here again, very quickly after I stopped doing it, so it's great fun. Tonight we have the wonderful Taylor Edmonds, who will be reading at around about 20 to 8. Followed by, after the break at 8 o'clock, we've got a guest slot of Sheila Aldous. That's brilliant. And we've got quite a few open mics, brilliant open micers. Just if you could keep muted while people are reading, and I'll ask you to unmute to applaud and then mute again. That would be brilliant. Is there anything I need to say? Anything else, Jason? Just do remind me, because I haven't got a crib sheet here.
No, that's fine. It's only about the etiquette of staying muted until each reader's finished. So
Brilliant. Okay. So, without more ado, I shall start with a poem. Now, I've gone back a long way to 2012. If I can find it. Yeah, here we go. On my first collection, Inside, oh, this is the trouble with virtual things, you can't see it. It's called Inside Reality. And because it's spring, I thought I'd read a poem about a spring day. I saw a young man sitting under a tree in the sun in spring 2012. And he was sitting on a bank of daffodils under a cherry blossom. It was very atmospheric. So I thought I'd write this poem. Sitting on a bank. I saw him sitting on a bank of daffodils in the sun, under a cherry blossom tree. His dark hair was blowing in the breeze, and he seemed to be smiling at me. I thought, what a handsome hunk, what a man, and I was tempted to smile back. But then I heard the fast tapping of stiletto heels as this girl ran past me, straight into his arms. He kissed her, like in the films, like he was drinking cool water on a hot day. I dropped my eyes, looked away and thought, what would it be like to be loved like that? Not the rapid fumbling on the back seat of a car when you're both tanked up, but to be really wanted, so that someone would wait for hours on a grassy bank, stone cold sober, just to steal a kiss in the sun. Okay, well, without more ado, it's great pleasure to introduce Lucia Daramus. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My poem, The Life Shot by Lucia Daramus. I am walking on the streets. Sun is washing its eyes by the morning dew, a diamond dew, in which a cricket is drinking a drop of fresh water. 9:21, morning. I am alone, staring to a book in a library just opened. Try to understand the exhibited titles. 9:30. The traffic stopped in Mariupol. Over the road, a man smiled. He knew what happened, but he kept his calm and smiled. He is with his wife and 2 children. They are Ukrainians. 9:31. The tanks destroyed everything. The journalist at the TV announced that part of Ukraine is knocking down, and the humanity is so far. 9:32. The man and his wife cried. 9:34. The life shuts. They had no name. They were dying in anonymity because the life shut. I am in the UK, so far. Ukraine is so far, carrying in my heart sorrow for that people, and sun is on the top of the sky, a hot sun above a life which is continuing in Europe. But in Mariupol, the life shut. Only the sun is for everybody the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. That was beautiful. Well, I love the countdown. It makes you realise how condensed time can be. Please unmute and give Lucia Daramus a really big round of applause. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
we carry on with Doc Janning before he disappears into the storm. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you. Seasons to come. Making our way from winter into spring on a bright, chill day. A cloud scuds across the sky. Sun's momentary scrim, herald of storms to come. Aeolus's breath sighs, singing of seasons to come, and life pauses, inhaling the cold, remembering spring and summer to come, remembering flowers and the scent of grass in the fields of yesterday, remembering leafy shade, the songs of birds and the laughter of children, remembering the sounds of love, of burgeoning growth and harvests yet to be, remembering the new which lies dormant, which awaits tomorrow, remembering the future, remembering the future, remembering the future. Thank you.
Oh, lovely, Doc. Absolutely lovely. Beautiful. Lots of memories there. And memories to come.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I've lost my list. Here we go. And next up is Lauren Ruddock. Lauren?
Hello,
welcome.
hello. So I have a book out.
Whoa. Well, congratulations.
I'll post some linky things after I've
Yes,
read.
do, please.
It's actually not that new. This stuff in this is from 2020 when I wrote it, and it's not about the pandemic actually. It's called Scenes of Silent Horror, and it's about something that actually happened to me back in 2018. And there's a big fat trigger warning, and I'm going to do 2 from it. So the trigger warning is for emotional abuse, anxiety, mental health, coercive control, and implied violence. So it's nice and light. So I'll start with this one. It's called The Edge of the Cliff. Psychologically, I'm just hanging on, waiting for a trigger, a word that starts off panic, as I am triggered yet again, even as I pleaded with her not to do it again. It's another Skype, another email, a summons to the office. No context is ever given. My rational thoughts collapse into a state of undress. There's been 12 messages sent to me across the week, not one with any context. 12 attacks of anxiety, that's how many I've had. I'm living on my nerves. I don't know how to cope. With her, I feel I'm living on a cliff. That's the first one. I've got M&Ms in my teeth. The second one this is probably my favourite one in the book. It's one quite near the end. And I know forgiveness is quite a personal, subjective thing when it comes to, anything really. But it's something that I had to do. So this one's called Forgiveness. Look at me. See what you've done. A car crash of emotions. I'm so angry at you. Why did you do it? Answer me that. These were the thoughts I initially had. After weeks of therapy, I grew tired of holding on to the anger and the hurt. It burned me and weighed heavy. An anchor around my leg, pain across my chest. I forgave you, but not for your sake. I did it for myself, to move on, to know I did no wrong. I felt lighter and unbound. No more hot anger burning. I let go.
Brilliant. Very wise poem. Well done. Brilliant. Yeah, do put your details on the chat. Please unmute and give Lauren a really big round of applause.
Well done.
Woo! Well done.
Okay, next up we have Alice Codner. Hi, Alice.
Hi,
Welcome.
thanks. This is a poem about going to buy sweets from the corner shop when I wasn't allowed as a child, obviously. Sought permission when she wasn't really listening. Knew exactly what I was doing, and on the basis of that one vacant, conscience-appeasing "yes, dear," gathered my weekly copper harvest from the powdery school play pot on the mantelpiece for years to come. I hid the pennies in pockets, up sleeves, down socks, stashed them in savings accounts under the bed, and waited for the opportunity. Can we go to the park by ourselves, we'd ask, with eyes that knew holes of conspiracy deep in the pupils of the other, then filling our socks and pockets and sleeves before coming downstairs as smooth as a pussycat to make sure we didn't jangle. We'd wave goodbye and promise to be careful, striding so cool up the street in a feign of adult confidence before turning in a flash to dodge back down, scurrying, jangling into the corner shop. The lookout was essential. We took turns to exchange precious metal gleanings for Freddos and curly whirlies and crinkled paper bags of delied sugary goodness. Have you got anything sour? But it was bad luck if the lookout called. Then hastily paying, we'd sprint a half a mile long way round along forbidden main roads and through no-go housing estates before arriving, sweaty, swearing never to do it before, to never to do it again, and victorious and bursting with adrenaline and pride at the park. And there at last, on Haven swings, we'd share our treats hard won, the secret rewards of our labour. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you. I can taste those sweets. Thank you. Please unmute and give a big round of big round of applause for Alice. Thank you. Just thinking ahead for a moment, we've got Leslie Constable next. Martin Del Toro Gutierrez isn't here, is he, Jason? No. And Michael Sindler?
Not yet. No, I've sent a message. So
Okay. Jason, do you want to come forward and do your one after Leslie? Would that be
yeah,
all
that's
right?
fine. Yeah, okay.
And Julie, would you be okay to come up and do where Michael is? And then if they come, they can do it after the break. Is that all right? Is that all right with you, Julie?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Fine.
Okay. So we've got Leslie, and then we've got Jason, and then we've got Julie. Brilliant. Okay. So next up, Leslie Constable. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Just so good to be here. All right, the poem I'm going to read is called High Desert Lake. Renew the you to the interior, the lake still, no need to show, to shine the inside of you outward. Renew the you, the still lake of nothing, no movement. It lays calm, unmoving, no need to show or tell what it, the dull glow, is, radiating quietly by itself and for no one. No one else knows its language, not yours, and to no one the quiet language of existence, tuned to the ears of stars, the deep, slow, sonorous turns of movements, sighs deep in earth connected to your inner ear, before trailing up into the firmament to touch briefly with star to star on its way. It will return to you, this voice, to shout or to whisper. It doesn't matter. It's the same voice, same music, sung below the high tones, pitched different. And you turn your head, tilt your head, a happy dog knowing you can hear the pitch from a range high up to the north. The mountains of New Mexico signal you back home, and you will arrive. You will arrive. The dirt is nothing, only the sound which emanates from it. I will ask for nothing but the procession of souls upon being there, the parasol's delicately balanced thought, the depth of love for you, colors of each in harmony with moon, the salt air rising above sound, its mist rising, risen high like sun. I ride your horse, Manuel, in the wake of you, in the wake of the gone one, and we travel together, knowing loss, mourning, and like the sound of dirt, we both know we are eternal. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Wow, thank you. Like the sound of dirt, we both know we're eternal. Whoa, what a line. Thank you very much. Please unmute and give Leslie Constable a really great round of applause for that lovely poem. Thank you. We do actually, Michael, welcome.
Hey, good to see everybody.
You muted.
You just muted Josephine.
You're muted, Josephine.
Sorry about that. Did I say give a big round of applause for Leslie?
You did, yes.
Good. It must have muted as I turned. Oh, it's very strange. Anyway, Michael, are you okay for doing it in the second half, your open mic? Or have you got a problem with that?
I unfortunately, it depends how long we're talking. I have like an hour.
Okay, don't worry. We'll put you in now. Is that all right, Jason? Yeah. Okay, Michael. Welcome to your open mic. It's
Sorry
brilliant.
to, yeah,
okay.
really sorry to be late.
No probs.
Had issues with. Okay. Let's go then. It's National Poetry Month here, and I'm doing the NaMoWriMo. So I thought I'd just go ahead and read what I've gotten done pretty much so far. This first one is called Clutter. Dawning realizations, clutter best placed where other hoarders will see treasure, tracking back my memories to bury in their closets. And the next one is called Clean Start. It's the season to make a clean start, gathering basic chemicals, building blocks of sanitation, alcohol, ammonia, baking soda, salt, soap, vinegar, and plenty of lemon juice, mustering paper rags, sponges, towels, brushes, brooms, mops, scrubbing pads, humming vacuum cleaner, and all the rest, spray bottles, pails, buckets, bins, and bags. Now all that's needed is determination, energy, attention, and concentration. So when it comes to the potential for a successful spring cleaning, I'm not that thrilled about the odds. And then this one is called No Less Real, Little Tonka. They say in the end, all is dust and DNA, swept or blown away. No less real a form than ours. Everything's distilled from stars. And then, I don't know how this one got here, sorry. Okay, here we go. This is the one I wrote yesterday. This is called Last Log Left. Not sure it's finished. We become a different edifice than our inner architect imagined. Beams still brave to bear load jut out precariously. Weathered, sand-scarred walls, carved language of wind, a song for fingertips. Tufts of wild grass bloom from cracks, shift foundation, alter equilibrium. Darkness inside, cut through, uncertain curtain, sunbeam, mistakes clutter for memorabilia. Last log left in hearth misses its match. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry to be late.
No, that's brilliant, Michael. Glad you made it. And wow, you have been productive. Please unmute and give a big hand for Michael Sindler.
Yeah, glad I caught the last of Leslie's at least. That was wonderful.
Right, where are we? I think we've still got time for both Jason and Jules. So we'll go over to Jason Conway, please. Welcome.
Great, thank you. I'm booked to read at the Cheltenham Poetry Festival on the 20th. So I'm going to share a new poem that I've written on an eco theme. It's called Awash with Greenery. I'm sat next to a metaphor that arches over water, a red brick yawn as life idles by, under and out of its shadow. Thank you for slowing down, the small plaque reads, and I acknowledge the irony of consumerism and technology, the 21st century dictates of progress. A white parent holds a child by the hand on a green circle over a bicycle. But I question the value of adults as guides for the young, the idealistic and anxious of climate change and chaos, and the hypocrisy of privileged tongues that learned how to lie and lie in their soft beds, twist narratives without sweat, like bramble offers fruit as it snags. How sweet is ignorance washed down with green currency. I watch the flow of water, misted with murk, as a mallard ducks from view, such a compelling distraction from what taxes me while I chew my cheek for answers. A poet peering ahead beyond the ambiguity of bridges and signs that misdirect, that pacify the public when action and urgency are needed. When sitting on benches, still and relaxed as herons, feels an uncomfortable escape, like deforestation and pollution, microplastic blood and burning waste. Effluent and toxins in waterways, the cancer of tarmac and concrete, offset with fake smiles and artifice. I could romanticize this situation, be a good citizen, speak the superficiality of warm words or metaphysical ponderings, the talk of tranquility and flowers, and of water as a mirror to life, a gateway to godliness. But I have to be a realist with the pressure of facts, of rising heat and societal collapse, declining species and overfishing, that no matter of wishing will fix without protest and rapid change. By this sleepy canal and its comforting sounds, I am surrounded by beauty, distracted by the magic of nature, attempting to stop time. But when I look closer at the drifting film, the glint of litter and encroach of new developments, all I see is responsibility, the malignance of mankind, so conveniently disguised.
Wow. Sorry, Jason, I was just typing there when you finished because there were so many lines in there I would have liked to have got hold of. Brilliant, really brilliant. Could you please unmute and give Jason Conway a brilliant round of applause?
Yeah, that was wonderful.
I look forward to your event in the Cheltenham Poetry Fest. If you don't know about it or you haven't come across it, I expect Jason will put details in, but always go to the website of the Cheltenham Poetry Festival and you will find the events that he's part of. I shall be going, I've got my ticket. Okay, and next up we have Jules, Julie Stevens. So if you're ready, that would be lovely. Welcome.
Thank you. So this one is called Sail Away. I was now the wood, bark heavy, splintered, sunk. Climb, climb, my mind spoke, and in that moment my engine roared. Propeller spun, and I raised the sail, hair beating the wind. If it wasn't hard enough trying to venture out, the road ahead had disappeared under the flood, and here I was, a boat on wild water, riding the swell. I could see my past self, sodden, weighed down, trying to grab a branch, the top of a fence, a gate open to let the healthy through. I couldn't haul myself up to mount this wave. I'll stay on board and sneer at the broken land, steady my sail and ride away from appointments, hospitals, people who can't help, won't help, and drop my anchor when they find a cure.
Oh, wow, that was wonderful, Julie.
Thank
you.
you.
So many beautiful lines there. Absolutely. Please unmute. Give a wonderful hand to Julie Stevens.
Well done.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
That was really beautiful. That really
beautiful.
was.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we come to the most exciting bit of the evening, our headliner slot for Taylor Edmonds. Taylor Edmonds is an award-winning poet, writer and creative facilitator from South Wales. Her work explores themes of womanhood, identity, connection, nature and empowerment. Taylor's debut poetry pamphlet, Back Teeth, is published by Broken Sleep Books. She was the 2021 Poet in Residence for the Future Generations Commissioner for Wales. So welcome. Big round of applause to welcome Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Josephine. Can everyone hear me okay with these headphones in? Yeah, fab. Yeah, I'm joining you from Barry in South Wales, but I actually did my undergraduate degree in creative writing in the University of Gloucestershire, so it's nice to be back in some sort of way by joining you today. I'll mostly be reading poems from my poetry pamphlet called Back Teeth, which is out with Broken Sleep Books. I'll post a link into the chat if you're interested in. And yeah, I hope you enjoy and thanks so much for having me. It's nice to hear all your lovely words so far and I look forward to hearing more. A general kind of trigger warning for the poems that I'm going to read. Some of these poems explore male violence and violence against women. So just to give you a little warning about that. So the first poem is called Sabrina. I wrote this poem inspired by a goddess of the River Severn called Sabrina. And I read that she saw herself as a protector of women. So I sort of ran with that idea. Sabrina. Imagine a river. When the swan dips its head to dive and drink, you'll find me. Hair of knotted weeds, body sculpted into the mud flats. The river feeds into the wetlands. Fishermen gather and drink lager from cool boxes, haul salmon to their arms for photographs, hooded against the sunrise. You'll find hooks protruding from the pores of your skin. When the body of a woman is devoured, cut open, spat back onto the bank, we'll run the river red, roll her out clean. Bed of kelp, salt on skin, her husband, blood on the cap of his boots. Thank you. following on with that similar sort of theme, this poem's called Again. I wrote this poem after the murder of Sabrina Nasser, who, if you're not sure who she was a teacher in London who was murdered on literally a 5-minute walk through a park to meet some friends at the pub. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate sometimes when something happens in the world, it makes you feel so many things that you don't know what to do but to write something about it. So that this poem kind of come from that and my own fears of, you know, being out and about walking. Again. I have died on this road over and over. I know the pattern of my blood, the groove of my heels heaved through mud. I've heard footsteps behind me quicken, saw the man's teeth catch the dark. On my balcony, a trellis of honeysuckle curls towards the sky, scorched buds coiled in spiderweb. I drink wine and watch the sun melt over the spot where he'll split my throat when he is quicker, kinder. Each day I take my body and walk to where I'm going. Thank you. Changing the mood a little bit, the next poem is called My Magnolia Tree, and the cover that is on the front of my book has kind of magnolia coiled in spider webs, which kind of comes from those two poems. The editor did a really beautiful job of illustrating that. I was happy with. But My Magnolia Tree was a poem that I wrote during my residency for the Future Generations Commissioner, which involved a lot of creating work around sort of climate change and particularly flooding. I took an interest in. I saw these maps of Barry, where I live in South Wales, released by Natural Resources Wales, and they showed the sort of areas that are at risk from rising sea levels. And I thought what a sort of shame it would be if my hometown is kind of lost to rising sea levels and my potential great-grandchildren or, you know, future generations don't get to explore the places that, you know, all my memories are held. So I wrote this poem. My Magnolia Tree. All I have left of my great-grandmother is her letters. While I was taking my first breath, she was watching the storm roll in, lining the house with an army of sandbags, willing the river to shush. It had given warning in the bloat of it, thrown up plastic bags and Stella cans. My grandmother never had secrets. She began writing me letters long before I existed, so that I might grow good, brave. I know all of her firsts. First school with the haunted bell tower and the boys that cornered her in the playground. First pet, a tan Labrador that uprooted the floor tiles when left alone. First fear, being swallowed by the moon. First home, council estate. A magnolia tree that shed petals of pink snow in spring, her first kiss between the rocks at the water's edge. Incoming tide snaking up her legs. I dream of Cardiff, where I chased my grandmother's outline through the back streets. Seek fingerprints on shop windows, a flash of her on the top deck of a bus. Sometimes I find her on the green of Butte Park picking wild garlic, sheltering at Central Station or clasping a blue bag of apples on city roads. She tells me nothing was an accident. The leaders, the people, they rolled over like spent dogs, yawning. All my great-grandmother wanted was to die an honest woman on honest land. I will never relive her firsts, never see the garden where she planted magnolia so that I too could hold pink petals of snow. Her underwater city is a skeleton, a shipwreck, but still, I ache for it. I read her letters to the sky while the storm rolls in. I line the house with an army of sandbags. Thank you. So connected to that poem was a trip where I went to Aberdeen, where my great grandmother was from, and I got to sort of trace her steps and experience all the places that she grew up in. And I wrote that poem about this trip. 252 Union Grove, Aberdeen, which is the house that she used to live in. I'm in Springbank Cemetery with my mother, grandmother, great aunties, relishing a gap in the rain to search for a lost headstone, half swallowed by bracken and branches, submitting to the earth. I'm walking down Union Grove, eating a buttery, pasty flakes stuck to my lips. Union Grove, where my grandmother walked 1,000 times with her buttery, oily and sweet. Outside number 252, she lives in another time, swinging open the gates, while I live now, swinging open the gate of 252. The doormat reads, "Welcome home." Thank you. This next poem is called Homecoming. Unpacking our insides from boxes, I pop my kidneys in the kitchen cupboard. My mother wraps her large intestine around the curtain rail. My father paints the walls with the rough of his spleen. Home. A slice of new moon for us that first night. I hear something under my bed. An old sick heart in a shoebox, half its tissue charcoal black, still pumping, slow. I watch the disease spread like butter, choking arteries, bottlenecking veins with gold bubble thickness, fast till the beat is swallowed whole. Thank you. This next one is called With a Day to Wait to Know If He Had Cancer. With a day to wait to know if he had cancer, I tell him we can do anything. Skinny dip, bungee jump, magic mushrooms. We take to the mountains armed with wine from a lemonade bottle, energy bars that taste like grit. We guide each other by the wrist when we lag over boulders till the air thickens, clouds crawl beneath. He mispronounces every place, Penavan, Warnvach, Erwoodva, but each new ground we cover becomes our route. Tells everyone he isn't good at much, but when we stray off track, he could get us anywhere by feel of land or flow of river. Finally, our panorama of the beacons is blocked with smog. Not a rip in the clouds or sliver of valleys boasting sunlight. Behind his back, I mouth everything. He gives his hands to the sky. Thank you. In the pamphlet, I've kind of written some small little micro poems, which are just threaded throughout, which I really enjoyed doing because it's quite a challenge to write something that's only like under 8 lines. And this is one of those. It's called Your Daughter Teaches You to Swim. Float on your backs, dolphins, chins casted by the sun, algae-laced hair. Watch her glide in Suan shoals to the depths beneath, the trail she leaves. I'm going to finish with quite a longer kind of one called We Echo. I had the absolute amazing experience to be able to turn this poem into a poetry film, and I worked with a dancer, and we filmed along the coast in Wales and just created this really magical film, which was such an incredible experience to see your words get turned into, you know, something new with someone else's art practice. And We Echo was created as sort of a reflection on my time as the poet in residence for the Future Generations Commissioner. And I created a sort of magical story about a girl who is called to save the world in a dream by the sea, and this sort of happens to all the women in her family. It's sort of like their heritage. And so We Echo. I am returning. The city I loved, an echo, choked on its own smoke. Ash air, wild traffic, glossy spines of sky rises that dissolve in the aftermath. I knew I would be called to the fleshy fields of my body. I heard their croaks, felt their thirst in the heat. For weeks I've listened to the sea toss and turn, aching. I put my ear to the black earth and it hums back. I pluck seeds from my scalp, craters hardened by the sun. When my grandmother first told me we were different, she was brushing back my stubborn curls in the mirror, bobbles between her teeth for pigtails. On your 16th birthday, you will dream the world is ending. You'll watch as everything sparks to flame and the sky turns gold with rage. Your mother and I, my mother and her mother too, have fought through this same dream. At the last moment, when you're about to succumb, you'll hear the distant hunger of the sea. Go to it. Tend its longing, you have something it needs. I started to notice. Morning rain, I felt the grateful soil quench, my arms heavy with new weight. I heard the trees strategize survival, the low groan of roots crawling deeper. I woke in the night to the sting of fresh stems piercing my spine. I coughed up dragonfly wings, still beating, bearing for flight. While my friends learnt to shave new growths of leg hair with soap and a blade, my skin puckered under patches of moss and lichen. I heard their whispers in my absence, my slimy hair, its green-tinged trails, smell of mould, jasmine, burning. The city, mothered by the greedy sea, my stomach felt her gnawing. Now I put my hand into the salt froth of the water. It envelopes skin like an old friend. Caregiver, I let it drag and fold me. What's left in an abandoned city, we'll take it back quietly. A flowering rock, roots capsizing pavement. I come from a line of land healers. Our bodies an offering, a hook between worlds. I think of my grandmother, lulled like the tide to return to this place. I have a photo or a memory or a dream. I'm on her shoulders at the cliff edge, leaning to the wind, and we are. Thank you, that's everything. Thanks so much for listening and your lovely comment.
Thank you. My goodness, that was so beautiful. Absolutely. And I love how you use ancestry to show the threat of environmental devastation. I mean, the way you've used such a gentle language to show something so strong. Absolutely brilliant. Please unmute and give an amazing round of applause for Sheila Edmonds.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you.
That was just wonderful.
Brilliant. Wow. So that's the end of our first half, folks. Do you want to stop recording? Okay, everybody, welcome back to the second half. We'll try and follow that because the first half was pretty amazing. First off, we are going to, oh, here we go. I'm not looking for, I'm a bit surprised, Jason. I've lost my way because it says about raised voices and I'm confused.
Have you got the right document?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. It says, welcome back, raised voices, event and poem.
No. Oh,
No.
well, no. It's Sheila up next.
I was going to say. Okay, I don't know how that got there. Okay, next we have our next lady who is going to be amazing, Sheila Aldous. Sheila Aldous poetry can be found in literary journals and anthologies. She won the Yeovil Poetry Prize, the Welsh International and Riptide, and was shortlisted for the Bridport Prize, Poetry on the Lake, and others. Her collections are Paper Boats, The Burning of Teignmouth and Shaldon, 1690, and While I Was Sleeping, and a chapbook called Patterns of All Made Things. She writes with profound empathy, skilled tellings, and when called for, dark undertows of real events. She treads with empathy into personal tragedies, emancipation, and political unrest. Please unmute and give a great warm welcome for Sheila Aldous.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, Josephine and Jason. I've really enjoyed the readings so far. They've been fantastic. So thank you for all of the readers that have read so far. It's been great. Yes, this first poem is about, it's the Kalevala, and it's from the Kalevala. Has anybody read that? I don't know whether you have, but it's about the Finnish rise, I suppose, of women in the world. They were the first in the parliament, in a parliament, to have a seat in parliament in the whole world. So they've just left, actually dropped off I think she was there for quite a few years, actually. What was her name now? Anyway, she's gone, but they really are, they've built a strong following, I think, from the Kalevala to grow their country. And so this poem is from one of the characters of the book, and it's called Lemminkainen's Mother, and the poem I've written is The Shining Rake. Fashion me a rake of copper, O Ilmarinen. I am like a woman insane. Beat it, burning fire, make it straight and strong. Crazy in my deep loss, I cannot wait too long. I have a needle fine and pointed to release his pain, and I will dig and I will scour, and I will tug and tear the moss, and I will give no sun again in dread to such devilled land of spirits, sucking out the eyes of heroes, the unheroes of the dead. My son, my beloved son, the real hero of the piece, went to win the heart of the bride he hoped would be the one. My poor lost Lemminkainen, who only sought a daughter and the black swan to kill in the river to Anella. The gleaming tool will lead my way, its copper light all shining. Fates have said, descend, go down, down without delay to the bracken underworld. For they say he's on a bed of stone and unforgiving rock, drowned in bits or broken. So I am mad as hell, but I will find the key and lock. I am mad with grief and fury. Round and round I spin in search, I twist in pain, still earth nor heaven has yielded him. I will dredge the cavern, the creek and bed below, and search forever in the dank and darkened hell, in the dark tunnels of my woe. And when I find him, every bit of him I'll stitch, mended like a cover pane, until he's like the day of birth, and I'll be like a witch, until he's new again, sweet, soft and scented, but without the scourge of sin. As I sow, I'll sing to gods a prayer of grateful thanks, in praise to them for him, and I will ask the honeybee to bring the honeyed nectar, a life-giving ornament, ointment, remedy, to bring him back to life for me. So that was a poem that was from the Kalevala, based on this particular woman who went to rescue her son who had been killed. And that was just a sign of the very important and strong women that were to follow in Finland. My next poem is inspired by the timeless light of old age as seen in the painting The Artist's Mother by Rembrandt. The light in Rembrandt's mother, Eyes, too difficult to read, have seen it all. She stares from a knowing dark space. The folds of glow and shade settle in her lines, and she shines in his illumination. She could be anybody's mother, one who would scold at a misplaced collar, at yellowed lace in need of a dash and splash of lye, one who would tenderly admonish the dim, spend her life with sheets on bleaching grounds, whose heart would be spread with pride, who would guide the brush she made as it swelled in the trembling water of life, so hers would not diminish in a shrinking multiverse, but would sparkle in furrowed light. My next poem highlights the cruelty and greed that is still rife towards animals all over the world. In this poem, The African Elephant. Africa's daughter. She blunders through bush, her way guided by ears the shape of Africa. Shock waves of heat, bolts of iron, shoot and burn, blow fire through her side. Thunder dust rises and she trumpets the waterhole. Her world buckles, she spins. Blood dances in her eyes, cloaks her tears mid-scream in the spotted shroud, and the blanket of her gives in, crumpled in folds on savannah ground. The far-off herd is praying, only she hears their song, mourning that part of her, that crown of thorns not yet shipped on oceans of avarice to a Chinese market. Men with curling lips covet and drool, their dead eyes shine empty light, more diminished than this Loxodonta africana, who waits and silently hums. She tells of greed, money, shadows that smell of slaughter, this proud African daughter, before the executioners cut, gouge, grind her might, until her pain eclipses the sun. Apparently the elephant can converse with the rest of the herd to say when danger is happening, and that really warns them. So this is actually telling that as well, how they can communicate with each other. Right. This poem is about Dylan Thomas. I slept in the room where Dylan Thomas was born at 5 Cwmdonkin Drive in Swansea. This poem is about his birth, his insight into death, and the absence it brings. The debt due. I noted in that room the absence of your life, and yet its term of expectancy, the welcoming of the bloody cord, your little body caked in vernix savosa. I note as I walk the paths of Cwmdonkin the pleasure of earth, the sweetness of soil, the flowers having lived, replaced with seeds like you. I note the defiance to beat the flesh, to berate the weakness, to take a fist to the body, to uphold the spirit of you. I note the presence in the absence, in the rage, in the knowledge of you. To know the wage of life is death. And then too, I note your absence in the air, the breath of you subtracted in the gentle night. I note the long cry of you, the honesty of you, the ghost of you, in the terrible of the day, in the drink of you, of what they said about you, a boy of summer in his ruin. And your father, I note his absence, for you, his betrayal by death, the devastation of his absent steps, the allusion to his truth, the empty delusion of pain, the burning end of light. And I noted you, living in the absence, in the shadows, unbaggaged on the journey, knowing about the payment of the debt, knowing about being born to die. Apparently he never got over his father's death, Dylan Thomas, and he felt his absence acutely. And when you're in that house, you do feel Dylan Thomas's absence acutely as well. Now, slight change of mood. My final poem is inspired by Alan Merrill, songwriter and musician, who wrote I Love Rock and Roll. He died of coronavirus in 2020. It's probably my favourite poem, actually. Brings me back to that era. We forgot we had loved rock and roll. Holed up in our 60s flat, we roll a spliff and take a puff high above London squares, high above the tops of plane trees, tall beech and silver birch. We breathe the perfumed air and light another. We polish the cheese plant in our morning's milk, smoke curls round like silk. We play the dancette as we put on another 45 and hope the needle doesn't slip. We are the high-rise generation. My psychedelic Raya rug lies snuggled on the floor and hardly moves at all. Toulouse-Lautrec smiles Frenchly from our blow-up walls, kicks us tie-dyed to cream in our hearts, alters us to the eyeballs as we watch the falling stars from the parquet floor in the evening of our love. And you say, we'd change in our sleep. You say, we'd think these days would never end, that we'd be forever friends, and we'd forget to listen, to hear the riff when there was Beat, and there was Berry, and Baker, and there was Bruce, and there was Merrill, and there was soul, and it was all rock and roll. Thank you. Thank you.
Fabulous. Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much. Can you please unmute and give Sheila Aldous a really brilliant round of applause? Thank you.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Sheila.
Yeah,
So many different styles, each poem slightly different. I mean, the first one was, if anything, was reminding me of The Lady of Shalott. It was like a kind of, what's the word? There's a word I'm trying to think of that I can't get.
Yes, it is very much like that. And she went
Yeah.
down to rescue him and try and she did. She sewed him back together. This is in the story of the Calavella. And it's an interesting text if anyone ever wants to read it. It's quite thick, but it's a bit like a Bible, I suppose. But it's the creation myth of Finland and quite a strong nation. And, you know, like that's, and especially the women. But it's really entertaining book if anyone wants to read it. And every time you read it, you sort of find another layer. So
yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Sheila. That was wonderful. Another big round of applause for Sheila.
Thank you.
Right, before we go on to this open mic, I just want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, if you've enjoyed this evening, please, we have a donation button. Jason's just put it on the chat. You know, even the price of a cup of coffee would help us to keep this going and to get some more fabulous feature poets for you. Also, if you do fancy joining the GPS, if you know already are not already a member, we also have a friendship facility which gives all sorts of benefits. So if you go on to the GPS, you will find out more about that. That's brilliant, thank you. And also just to say that next month, May edition, on May the 3rd, where our feature headline poet will be Idalia Day and the guest poet Ashley Edge. So we look forward to that. Okay, so go back now to our open mic, and if we could start with Ashley Edge, please. Hello, Ashley.
Evening.
Hi, welcome.
So I was going to do something from my new book, but in honour of this picture, I'm going to do Medicat. It's got to be done, because I can't do it in a slam with this, because I'd lose points, because it'd be classed as a prop, wouldn't it? So, because this is his voice, right? So this is not me. So I could do with actually going like, if I was, it was making me disappear. But anyway, Medicat. Smile and dial down your anger, for the one with the purr is here to lay upon your chest, to knead at your chest with open claws and whiskers a twitch. Let go of your age, sit still, breathe, My heartbeat matches yours and my purr sinks with your lungs. Look away from the red, avoid the matador's law, for when he lifts his muleta, bloodied white horns will bear you down. I can carry you by your scruff, but my teeth will leave a mark of remembrance. So come, sit down, let me swish my tail in your mouth. Be annoyed by fur on your tongue, not the world beyond. Keep still, my precious human. Let me drown your distress with feline happiness. I am your sponge, here to soak up your angst. So let me be your sole focus. Let me guide you from your cliff of fury, stop you falling, stop you crumbling, stop you crashing into frothing coastal ocean waves of regret. Let me guide you from the pain that scalds tender skin, that bubbles in your stomach, that besieges your brain until it crumbles. Come, lay down. Let me purr upon your chest. Let me groom those shakes away with sand paper licks. Come, rest here and let me purr upon your chest. There you go.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. That was really feline.
I'm stroking a cat the whole way through. Not even kidding.
I just wanted to say something really strange about cats and purring. A little while ago, I was having a lot of pain in my left hand and I was having some treatment for it. But what I found was in the evening when she sat on my lap, if I put my hand on her purring body, my hand felt so much better.
Oh God, yeah,
really
it's so
worked.
healing, isn't it? It does
It
have
really
healing
did.
properties,
It
yeah.
really
I'm
worked.
sure there's some sciencey stuff out there that
Yeah,
proves
I'm
it as
sure
well.
the
Pretty sure
vibration
there
is
is.
just right somehow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you
they
so
know as
much,
well.
Ashley.
They
That
know
was
it
brilliant.
helps.
Please unmute and give a big hand to Ashley Ed. Okay. Next up, we have Kate Jenkinson. Welcome, Kate.
Hello. I will stay unmuted. uh, I did these last night in York. These are my national poetry writing prompts. Prompts I've written for myself because why not? These are on the theme of neurodiversity, and like Ashley said, you can't enter into slams with stuff you've got props for. So my prompts come with props tonight because I'm at home. Prompt 1. Where did I put my pen? Was the phrase I'd always mention after every coaching session until I bought a box of 50, which swiftly populated everywhere. Black Inkjoy pens, enough to share. Prompt 2. Knowing and doing are two separate things. I know the Dewey Decimal System for arranging books. A library my house isn't. Books are literally everywhere, except inside my oven. Time is a human construct. My brain is a slant rhyme. It ticks to the tock of Kairos time. Tock, tick, tock, tick. Prompt number 4. If every thought were a piece of string, my thinking would be my unraveling, just as well I have my knitting, looping each thought inside another, making meaning over time, multitasking as I go, as well as making a woolly jumper. Prompt 5. The world is a dot to dot and the picture is 2 circles mark a line. 3 circles mark a triangle. Always playing dot to dot, my brain connects abstract facts a lot. Detecting patterns where others see the trees, I'm climbing in the forest canopy. I see dots that plot a trajectory to create neuro-inclusive communities, making the invisible visible, finally, to the majority. This pattern is the most important one to me. Thank you.
Brilliant. Wow. I think that's probably some of the most creative, whatever the term is, no pro, whatever, writing thing. Very good. Brilliant. Thank you.
Follow my prompts on Facebook and LinkedIn, because those prompts are coming out. Yeah.
Thank you.
As
Please
Ashley says,
sorry.
There's a bit of science goes along with each of those, so there's a bit extra as to what they actually mean. So
that's good. Okay, please, a big hand for Kate Jenkinson. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we've got Sue Finch. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. This one's called Do Geese See God? You dry your eyeballs on a hotel hand towel to remind yourself it hurts. The head cannot tell the heart how it feels, and there are too many questions without answers. You can't even bring yourself to slip cream in your coffee. If she poured it in for you, would you take it? Air hardly enters this room because hotel windows do not trust you not to jump. You desire the guillotine of a sash window, no wedges, no disclaimers, because hotel windows do not trust you not to jump. Air hardly enters this room. Would you take it if she poured it in for you? You can't even bring yourself to slip cream in your coffee. Without answers, there are too many questions. The head cannot tell the heart how it feels, and to remind yourself it hurts, you dry your eyeballs on a hotel hand towel. Thank you.
Oh, that was fabulous. Thank you. Dry your eyeballs. Aha, on a hotel. Oh, thank you, Sue. Please unmute and give Sue a brilliant round of applause. Wow.
Bravo, marvellous.
Oh,
Thank
God.
you.
What the quality of poetry we're having tonight is amazing. Brilliant. Okay, next up, Naima Chamchoon. I hope I've pronounced that correctly this time. Naima, welcome.
Shamshoon.
Shamshoon. I just can't do it. Sorry.
It's okay, not to worry. Okay, the road to Mizuga, leaving and ascending, weaving and bending. La ilaha illallah echoes from afar. The squat palm trees that sprout green feathered fountains. The dug trenches, abandoned tools on the floor, as arduous labour stops to heed the call of Sahur. An aqua sky serenely welcomes formidable mountains. A mechanical beetle, rising and falling. Amazi colours flicker past the eye, a patchwork of the fruitful and bone dry. Lethargic dogs in the shade blissfully snoring. The shimmering streets of Wurzezet, freshwater streams in Ait bin Haddu, Dadi's Gorge. In the valley we dally, flanked by clay monoliths. Clear water gushes from its seat, and we lean in to wet our lips. Still the road ahead pushes into a horizon of golden brilliant blue. The sun's sear shimmer, like a delicate bridal veil, delicately complementing her fiery stare, without singe or tear. Blushing gold and opaque, trailing into the braised air. The groom, in an indigo headdress, waits by the aisle. Rotund women in billowing cotton robes with small children wind through parched fields where relentless life still yields tufts of dehydrated defiance, barren brown and evergreen. An intrepid explorer, relinquishing the hours and the days, forging through rock and dust, the temperatures stewing life's lust, postcards of natural splendor bathed in sumptuous rays. In the desert, shadows of camels and their passengers accompany us to camp, sprouting emerald where life still flowers, and the black beetles scurry and scour for droppings where quad bikes and jeeps leave swirling patterned stamps. The silhouettes who stretch out to greet the setting sun as the camp tents welcome the heat-glazed caravan. Fed and watered, we laze by the campfire's glowing hum, dancing obliviously to the derbuga and guitar strum. And the night has 1,000 eyes, all blinking and winking. The flames rise into the blackness like orange tongues. The mint tea pours freely and brings the taste that belongs. The mind lets go of the stresses that keep us sinking. I dived into the desert surrounded by dunes, ripples farther than the eye could see, shimmying into infinity. I gazed into the eye, and she gazed gloriously back into me. A serene, tranquil sea, washing away wreck's ruin. Living and thriving, releasing and arriving, the magic of Sahara's sweep lays me softer, lighter to sleep. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Such imagery. And I've got so many pictures, as you know, scenes. Fabulous. Thank you. Please unmute and give Naima a really big round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, who have we got next? We have, mustn't forget this, Catherine Southworth. Welcome.
Hello. I'm going to read from a poem in my sequence on Ivor Gurney in the pamphlet No Man's Land. This is actually addressed to Ivor. Gloucester. You said untidiness would all be smoothed away. Respectable red brick rule all. No small shops of multi-miscellany. Did you imagine the sprawling shopping mall, designer outlets where the dock warehouses stand tall? There'll be no football in the streets, you thought, or chatting at front doors. But how could you foresee the new communities that gather here, the halal butchers, Polish grocery, crowding out uniformity? And the centuries that drape this city still lend a mellow grace. Roman foundations setting glass pavements, friaries uncovered, even the fictional tailor and his simpkin given their space. All gleaming in that special light where town meets country and country runs out to sea. Here, as if new risen from the water, mistress of the widening river.
Oh, wow, that was lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Could you put the details of your pamphlet there, because it sounds wonderful. Please unmute and give a big hand for Catherine Southworth. Woo, it gets better and better, doesn't it? I don't know. Right, next we have Pulowski Moore. Hello, Pulowski. Welcome.
Oh, sorry. I truly just muted. I unmuted to clap and then I muted myself again. Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm actually going to share 2 brief poems. And the first poem that I will share is titled Lady Sings the Blues. She is brown and blue. Her soulful moan serenades the moon and sets the sun. She is screaming quietly through muffled memories. She serves the audience the bone blues of fragile flesh on fire. She is melodic, magical, the spirit of the willow weeping, sweeping above the dark, slow-moving currents. She is marred, scarred, a fierce warrior who looks into the eyes of demons from the Red War. She carries her ancestors' enchantment for people who are worn and weary of waiting and worry. She is the wind crossing time, longing to bend a soul sublime. The next poem that I would like to read is called Take My Hand. And it's basically about the unity of people and our working together, and that we all only survive by helping one another. Take my hand. It is not too late. I am just beneath the surface, struggling to stay afloat against currents that conspire to silence my voice, to cover my existence with sand, clay, silt of a river that does not belong to me. It is not too late. I am just beneath the surface, reaching out for you. I am brown, black, blue, but that is not all. I am mother, brother, sister, father. You and me, we are one. I am waiting for you to see me in your reflection, to take my hand and save us both from the drowning of dreams. Thank you.
Wow, brilliant. Thank you. That's really evocative stuff, especially the first poem. I loved it. The way you used the willows to give a metaphor for her. She was brilliant. Thank you. Can you please unmute and give a brilliant round of applause for Pulaski Moore? Gosh, right. Where are we going next? I think we're Generalissimo Brian Franco next. Are you there, Brian?
I'm here. I will not be on camera. I have one poem.
That's okay.
It is entitled, thank you, Josephine. It is entitled, I never thought I could, excuse me, I never thought I could ever be a cartographer. Imagine if there were a map a person could follow to achieve joy. Being a human being is about breathing, is about waking up every day, is about putting feet onto floor and getting out of bed, is about living life, is about deciding to do all of the above. Some days I wake to birdsong outside my bedroom window, to sunshine peeking through the blinds. But there are days I wake to rain that tap dances across the roof as if it were my destiny, to rain that feels destined to flood my day. Those days are days I need to slip on boxing gloves or brass knuckles to fight for the right to put my feet on the floor, the right to get out of bed, the right to live life. Those are the days when turning the knob on the shower feels like pushing a Sisyphus boulder. But the second the water plays from the shower head, the steam rises against my face, the torrent touches my back, the boulder shrinks, the most minuscule pebble, and washes down the drain into oblivion. I put loose Kashmiri green tea, allspice, cardamom, mace, and white peppercorns in a drawstring tea bag, then steep it in boiled water. I drizzle coconut milk into the tea to create a chai that tastes like hope. Joy is achieved. Sometimes I listen to sad songs or watch a tearjerker till tears turn to laughter. Sometimes I go to a diner and sit at the counter to breathe in the sound of people. Sometimes I go to a museum to sit on a bench and stare at a painting in silence. Colors and brushstrokes sound like jazz. Music I close my eyes to listen to. I am in a trance. I am levitating. Joy is achieved. I am charting a new map to find joy every day I wake and decide to live life. Every map is a map I must decide to chart because I don't need joy to breathe, but it sure does make life more worthwhile. Gracias, everyone.
Oh, thank you, Brian. That was brilliant. I can really empathize with that and the rituals that bring comfort and joy. Yeah, daily rituals. Fabulous. Please unmute and give a brilliant round of applause for Generalissimo Brian Franco. And next up we have Gerald Kells, who's back in 1940. What did you say? No.
1970, I think, about.
1970, not quite so far back. Welcome, Gerald.
Hi, and I've got three little ones. The first one, money in my pocket and clothes to wear. I saw you in the shopping mall. You weren't buying anything at all. I saw you by the cenotaph, not paying respects or having a laugh. I saw you sitting on the bus stop seat. I don't think you had a bus to meet. I saw you staring at the town hall clock. Time ticked by, tick tock, tick tock. I saw you waiting at the food bank queue, but I'd got urgent things to do. Money in my pocket and clothes to wear. Why would I see you standing there? Money in my pocket and clothes to wear. And this is a bit of a historic one. It's called Before Birdsong, if you can remember that. Remembering what it was like to wake in the morning before birdsong, he thought to himself, those birds make a hell of a racket. There used to be cars when I was a lad, real, genuine cars, natural cars, as God made them, honest and true, thumping, roaring, trembling on tarmac, a dawn chorus that made your heart soar and your soul. Well, we did for that, chopping down the car parks, building cycleways instead of roads. You can't get them back, cars I mean. Once they've gone, they're like all those other signature species. Pandas, for example, used to carry policemen. Now they're idle in tropical rainforest. Call that music, he said to his children when they told him that birdsong was cool. Before birdsong. And last of all, because if you move forward 40 years and walked up this street just behind me, you'd come to Walsall's great art gallery, award-winning art gallery, nationally important art gallery. And if you went inside, you'd see the Garman Ryan collection with the most Jacob Epstein sculptured in the whole world. And you would also see Christ with the crown of thorns, a 12th to 14th century wooden statue. And it inspired this little poem called Patina. He's smoothed away now, even the nick in his neck once notched from timber. His mouth as open as when moths fluttered in, spawned in some medieval sacristy. So thin and gaunt, stretched between garlands rubbed free of thorns, each strand of tousled hair picked out by age. His base has crumbled, but his head's still clean. And despite cracked splinters, or maybe because of them, he spreads out passion to all who approach him. That's my little set. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
And we have one of the best art galleries in the country. Come and visit us.
Where is that, Gerald?
The Walsall Art Gallery.
Walsall Art Gallery. We'll keep that in mind.
I'm sorry, what town is it?
Sorry. What was that? Whoever said no? What town was that?
Yeah, what town is it in?
Walsall.
Walsall. Near Birmingham.
Centre of the universe.
Not not quite. Please
Or is that
unmute and
Swindon?
give Gerald a big round of applause. I loved it when you said, I wish the cars were, you know, gone, the song of the cars. I live at the moment next to a motorway, the M5. The song of the cars and the lorries never stops. But what is amazing is the song of the birds is so loud, it can drown it out. How about that? Fabulous. Anyway, we follow on to our ultimate poet of the night. And I can't tell you what might or might not happen, but please give a big round of applause for Clive Oseman.
Okay, I can't tell you what's going to happen myself, to be honest. This is a new piece, although I did this at York yesterday, so a couple of people have heard it. It is rather difficult to read, so I'm not giving any guarantees. I'm going to do this without any mistakes, especially as I am actually quite spaced out at the moment, having taken some medication. So I'll do my best. And the reason it's so difficult is because most of you will have heard my letter swapping poems, where I'll swap letter P and F round on the keyboard. Unfortunately, that's happened again. I don't know how it keeps happening, how this person keeps getting into my flat and changing the letters on my keyboard. But this time, for some reason, I always seem to go to the letter P. I don't know why that would be, but this time it's P and T that have swapped over. And as last time, you know, I'm stuck with this now. It's too late to change it, so I'm just going to have to read it as it is. Fi T and P tow him. Trigger warning. Fist tow him contains some leper swatting. Two games I am good at. Tall and piddlywinks. I'd been down fi tob for a drink and per use fi tall table per track piece my prick shops. I was pickled tink when my favourite prick came off. Have any of you ever tried any prick shops? I could recommend a good one. On my way home from fi tob, I saw an ex-girlfriend. We ignored each other, like poo shits tassing in fingipe. I got home to find my one. I got home to my one bedroom flap, which is a bit of a shiphole, and found little food in fi fridge. I had some green grapes, so I settled for grapes and chocolate, triangular chocolate, Toblerone. I dislike seedless grapes. I like to live dangerously and swallow for tits. I was bored. I had no idea what to do. I wanted to go po Fifiapa to see Jesus Crisp Suitor Spa, but I have no money. Work has dried up as a male trospy pupe since the genital warps. I turned on the Fi radio. It was all tollypicks, followed by pishitting forecast. Tollypicks, eh? I dislike tollypipians, especially trippy to pal. David Cameron made promises, but he never walked the walk. He just porked the pork. And Pony Blair, he's an ass. He'll never change. A leotard never changes its stops. There was no soccer on Television. Fap was disappointing. I prefer Arsenal to Poppenham upstairs, but my all-time favourite footballer was Map Lepissier. I had a sore throat, maybe a pouch of tonsillitis, so I decided to check my emails on my computer, then Lisbon po music. One email was from a friend offering me a free pramtoline. I knew it was too good to be true. She said there were no springs attached. Oh well. So I viewed some YouTube video clips. I remember seeing Popely Clits of the Harp by Bonnie Pyler, and the harpist formerly known as Trince singing Turtle Rain. I like songs from the 80s and the 9-pies. Then I fell asleep. I had this strange dream, fap I rope trotter toapri. Outre tosperus is fap. Thank you.
Bravo, mate,
Brilliant.
bravo.
Oh, well, please unmute. Give it a round of applause. Woo!
Yeah, it's live.
Talk about writing tongue twisters for yourself.
Oh God, that's funny.
Don't forget to go on YouTube and watch some video clips.
Yeah, got it.
Going to listen to Turtle Rain after this.
Oh, mate, Turtle Rain, yeah, that one pleased me.
If I had to read that poem, I'd be in a straitjacket.
It should be.
You did well, Clive, considering you're on the meds.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that helped.
Yeah, probably. Probably I was under the influence when I wrote it in the first place.
Oh, brilliant. I don't know whether, because we've got a little bit of time, so I wondered if you were going to I can't really follow that, but I'm going to read one last little poem out of this because I haven't read out of this book for ages. This is my first collection, Inside Reality, and I did a poem about the daffodils at the front, and then when Brian Franco was doing about the rain, I thought I'll do this little poem about the rain, if that's all right with everybody. And it's just called Couple Kissing. I watched a couple kissing under the dripping trees, and I felt as though something in my life was missing. I trudged beneath my black umbrella between the wet bushes, surprising a cat that sprang across my path, hissing fear. Its great green eyes stared at me malevolently. I continued, shaken and wishing I didn't feel this hole where something was missing. There you go. All right, so that is it, I think. Obviously, if you have loved this and you can send us a little bit of something, a donation or something which would help us, that would be brilliant. Do come again on the 3rd of May to see our two people then. Sorry, I've lost my place, but I'm going for it now. So featuring Adelia Day and the guest poet Ashley Edge. So I look forward to that. It's fabulous meeting all these new poets. Wonderful Taylor Edmonds. Please, can we have a big round of applause for Taylor Edmonds for your beautiful poems?
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved listening to you all.
It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. And also another round of applause for Sheila Aldous because they were lovely poems too. Totally different, but wonderful. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.
All you open micers of all types, including Clive, please give a round of applause for yourself.
Well done, everyone.
Well done, everybody. So anything else you wanted to add, Jason, before we stop?
No, that's all. Just be sure to pop by our Facebook page and be kept up to date with information, and join our free Facebook group if you're not a member, so you can share your work there without fear of it being classed as published. So
brilliant.
Thanks everyone for coming.
And so that's the end of our April edition. Have a fabulous, fabulous Easter, and see you all in May. Do you want to stop recording, Jason?